Hi, everyone. I have a friend of mine with me today. Her name is Erica, and we're going to be talking about follow up, the bane of existence of real estate. Some people call it follow through because they mean you got to keep going, follow up, follow through. I know, Erica, that when you talk about it, it's not just an idea, it is something ingrained in the business of working with people, especially if you're going to be talking to people at their doors. Uh, Define follow up for us.
Well, first of all, there's two majors in this business, right? Prospecting, you have to be doing that, and follow up, you have to be doing that. And those two are the magic recipe for being successful in real estate. And for me, specifically at the doors when I'm working with agents, it's about um, getting out and following up consistently with qualified leads. So we go out and we hunt for the people that have to move in the next 12 months. And then when we find those people, we go to work to make them the most educated people in the business and or in as far as sellers and buyers go. And in doing this, working only with qualified people, there's so many benefits for the agent. And I know lots of agents back away from the idea of follow up. It's amazing to me how many people will go out and do the hunt key, but then they drop the ball and they won't do the follow up. It's like they've kind of got a lead, but then they want to ignore it because they might lose it if they touch it again. And so it's getting agents over that hump of doing that.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk today about some approaches and just being aware and conscious of how you're doing this follow up to really build a successful business, because it's like I've always said, it's marrying the client. You got to get married to the client over this period of time. So it's such an important component of the prospecting. We've got to do that second step.
This idea that you can have one conversation and it will result into a sale is not the business we're in. We're in the business where people have to take time to absorb that information. Sometimes we're talking to them right before they need to do a transaction, but even then, you need several follow ups before they give you the appointment. We're not selling ice cream. I wish we were. If we were selling ice cream, you come in, give you $2. I take the ice cream, and I'm done. It's a transaction. That's finite. That's not what we do. This is why follow up is a minimum of at least 5 touches, sometimes 8 to 10 touches,
Absolutely.
before the person is going, okay, we're going to make this move and we're going to work with Erica. And it is not just at the door. I know you specialize in that. There are other types of follow up. There's a follow up with your sphere of influence. Not because you want them to sell or buy, you want them to connect you with their friends who have real estate on the brain. There is also follow up with people who you've done business with, or maybe vendors, so that you can create a referral business. Follow up is this thing that says, I'm here, I love real estate, talk to me. And the biggest challenge, like you said, Erica, there is no consistency. They have that door knock, they have that conversation, and they go, all right, I'm going to wait for them to come to me. Isn't that a mistake?
Oh my gosh, it's such a huge mistake. They've already done the hardest part by going out and qualifying whether somebody has to move or not move when we're talking about door knocking or on the phones. They've already done the hardest part. So now we've got to trip into that next phase, which is building the relationship and getting married. And it is consistent over time. Sometimes at the doors, you'll follow up, a dozen times. But when we're doing the follow up, well, first of all, let's go back to qualified person. A qualified person, when you're out prospecting, and I don't like to call it cold calling, let's call it warm calling so your psyche feels good about it. But we go out and we find somebody that has to move. Now the next phase is really educating them. So first we thank them for the opportunity to meet them and do the work to make them the best informed seller in the area. And now on a regular basis, we start watching the market. We start paying attention to all the nuances, what's selling, what's expiring, what's just listed. And we watch this flow. And as an agent starts to watch it, they start to get educated. And as they get educated, they build their confidence. And now they have something to go out and share. And an agent can never predict the market. We don't have a magic 8 ball. but an agent has the ability to study in a concentrated area what's going on and then bring that education to the potential buyer or seller. And in doing so, they're giving them tidbits, and they're doing a listing presentation on the doorstep is what they're doing. They're building information to add to a package, and over time that package becomes a CMA, right? And most agents are, I got to get out there and do the CMA right now. No, you don't. You just have to collect the information and give them little crumbs as you go over the period of time between where you qualified them and when they're actually selling. And as you educate, you're dealing with a really qualified lead because they're excited to get this information. If they're lukewarm on receiving the information, they're not really a qualified lead as someone who has to buy or sell in the next 12 months because they absolutely have to. Life has set it up that way. So, dealing with a qualified person first, I think if you navigate that correctly, not by accumulating what you think are a ton of leads, but really solid leads that have to move in the next 12 months, if you're really honest with yourself about that, and then you start going out and, hey, look, 32B WIC just expired. Let me tell you why it expired. And you explain it. Now you're educating them on why overpricing doesn't work. Or you're dropping off, hey, this sold. This is how it's comparable to your home. And they start to understand that. Now when you go in to actually, and I say we don't do listing presentations at the doors, when we're door knocking, we do them over a period of time. Now they say, hey, I'm ready to list, and they know exactly their price point because you've educated them. So there's no struggle, there's no fight, there's no argument. And you've also worked for that lead. You went to work before they actually hired you, giving them information. Now they feel a connection to you. They see your drive, they see your consistency, they see their commitment to their goal, and they hire you. It's as simple as that. But you've got to be willing to jump online and or have it set up so the line feeds you information of what's buying, what things are listing and selling and expiring for. That information really empowers you as an agent, and now you're empowering the client too.
And there is a structure to that. You
Mhm.
see, the consistency of following up is driven by this idea. If we only worked with a few dozen people, you would not need a CRM. You don't, because your brain can handle a few dozen connections. But we have to follow up with hundreds of people. Each year, we have to add to our pipeline about 50 to 100 people. Therefore, a CRM is required. Now, what is a CRM? It's not just a name, phone number, email address, date of birth, home address, second, their job, what they do. It's also the notes that you take. Every time you open a CRM, and let's say you're working with Erica, and you met with her, you say, I met with Erica January 26th, and we talked about whatever we talked about, right? You now memorialized a conversation. But here's where the CRM works. Now you ask yourself, what is my next action? You're not just writing the actions you're doing, you're creating the next action. And if you're smart and your CRM is connected to your calendar, you're scheduling your next action before you go work on somebody else. And trying to keep all of this information in your head without having a proper CRM where you spend a half hour to an hour a day wrangling the beast, meaning you know who you're working with. And your CRM will tell you, today you're calling Julie. Julie, you spoke to her 3 weeks ago. Today you're going to send her an email. Today you're going to send her a video. Today you're going to send her a market report. That's why the structure of a CRM is important. And this is why not only they are understanding the market, now they're educating people on it.
Yeah, organized CRM that you're touching on a regular basis. And that has to be habitual. You have to set that up so every week you're sitting down and you're going back to that CRM and you're working that platform so that you can show up for the client. And you're right, I work specifically at the doors or phones, but when we're working past clients, you've got to keep it organized. You have to keep it up to date. And I don't know how many agents that I have out door knocking that end up getting a lead that would have gone to the agent that got them into the house originally, because most agents are not following up and not staying on top of those leads or those potential prospects or those possible referrals, right? So organization is really important. And when you have it all set out for yourself, you don't have to wonder what's going on. You just have to jump in where you left off and continue to elaborate on that. And I love your idea of, sending them little messages or sending them concrete information or picking up the phone and congratulating them on their anniversary. Or there's all these reasons that we have to follow up. And if an agent sits down and makes all these potential touches that they could do on educating and saying hello and asking for referrals and reminding them that you're here to serve the community at a greater whole, then it starts to work for you, and you're just showing up and following the steps that are laid out, as opposed to sitting there worrying about where's my next lead coming from, right? I highly recommend that agents start affirming, I'm excellent at follow up, I'm excellent at building relationships, I love staying on top of touching all my little ducks, right?
Correct. And educate. Your primary purpose is education. Sometimes with the people you follow up, all you need is to write a comment on their social media. They post something about a meal they had or a restaurant they went to, and you want to bring them into the awareness that you are there, that you exist. Sometimes all you need is to write a remark. Uh, and it could be a remark about the restaurant that you already know. It could be, what a lovely picture. It doesn't matter, but it has to be authentic. So follow up does not always have to be a phone call. It does not have to be a pop by, always. But don't rely too much on email. I think of email as a document management system. Go into their DM, direct messages within social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, is one way of reaching out people. Don't be salesy. What I mean by that, don't be transactional. Be always educational. But don't be afraid also of asking for the appointment. I got something for you. We should see it and see where they move. Because sometimes if they're buying, they need to see it. Sometimes they need to sell. They need to buy before they sell, or they have to make these two happen together. Sometimes you have to take them and show them a property before they commit to listing their property. So it does require discipline, I must admit. You have to be disciplined. But here's the good news. You only need to be disciplined 1 hour a day with this idea. That's all. You don't need to be disciplined all day long. You just need to hunker down for an hour and let's get to work. Most agents open their email all the time. And I'm like, why aren't you opening your CRM as well? Why aren't you spending time there? Those are the people. An email is communication. These are the people. And why is your CRM not connected to your calendar? You should get reminders. Today, you call Erica. Today, you call Steve. It should be already there, and your job is just to do it. Isn't that really the mindset of follow-up? There's a deliberate intent to go after it.
Well, when we're working specifically at the doors and we get a qualified lead, now they go into part of our CRM that we are pulling information every week. People say, how often do I follow up? Well, if something sells, lists, or expires, you're following up. And you've got to schedule this. If you don't schedule it, you won't do it. So there's multiple components to the follow up. Number one, there's the research. You've got to, like you said, spend 1 hour a week getting on and studying what movement has happened in that market. Then step number two is you have to pull that information and put it into a package and have it ready for you to deliver the next time you go out to the doors. So then the third step, you also have to schedule this, or you will not do it, is at the end of your door knocking shift, you have to run around and you have to drop off that information and do the listing presentations on the doorstep, the information package that will become the CMA, and you're dropping that off and you're spending time after door knocking talking to all of your qualified leads. Hey, I just thought I would drop this by. Did you see that such and such sold? And this is how it's comparable to you. And do me a favor, add this to your package so when it comes time for us to market your home, we have everything you need. Will that help you with your move in January? And they're just like, yes, of course it will. Thank you so much. Now, two things have happened. you've number one, kept yourself organized by scheduling all three aspects of that follow-up. And number two, well, three things happen. Number two, you're getting really educated, your confidence is boosting, you really have a better idea of what price points are going to be in that area, more so than any other agent, because most agents aren't doing this. And number three, you're starting to build a connection with them because they appreciate the information that you're dropping off, and they're getting excited because as they become more educated, they feel safer in that transition process out of that home. So it's really important that you're scheduling all three aspects of that, right?
And that is something we call discipline. And the best discipline is self discipline. And the best discipline is the one you lean into. You accept it. You don't resist it. It's just call it. It's my job. I'm doing this because I want to do it. Stop thinking like somebody's making you do something. We're not making you do anything. We want you to be the best at understanding the market so you can serve the people who are thinking about selling and they go, I'm going to pick you. You're the one I want to work with. And yes, it is work. So what?
Well,
Do it. It's fun. Accept that it's fun. Choose it to be fun. I choose it to be fun. There's work for what we have to do, Erica, but we choose to do this because we love doing it. We want you to be in that place. We don't want you to be purely transactional, meaning if it doesn't produce a result, I'm not doing it. No, you're doing it both for yourself, for the community, for educating, and it's going to get the results are going to come to you. They always do. Am I right?
when you're consistent and you are disciplined, which is a secret to success in the real estate industry, disciplined and consistent, you will start to enjoy what you're doing. It may start off hard and it might feel cold at first, but we can do hard things. I tell my clients all the time, we can do those hard things. And on the other side of that hard, it becomes flow and easy and things start to thrive. And actually, when you're doing follow up, it compels you to go out and continue prospecting because you feel so good about the process. So I implore agents to really take a step back and ask, how organized is my CRM? How much time am I actually spending on it on a weekly basis? And am I committed to being consistent and disciplined with this so that my business can really thrive?
I'm telling you, I'm so glad you shared those ideas because they are hard. They look simple on the surface. They do require discipline. They do require work. But I think if you really chose them as this is who I am, this is what I do, if you start affirming that I'm going to be good at this, you will start getting the value that you're really serving people. You're not just transactional. And I'm so glad you shared those ideas with us, Erica.
It's so important, and you can have, we'll also keep track of your follow up, right?
Of course.
As you've done the follow up, keep track of it so that when they do call you in to actually take the listing, you've got all the information compiled, also the information that you've given them, right? So you've got two packages going on. So at the doors, how it works out, Key, is people actually just go in and take the listing. They don't have to do a listing presentation per se because they've done it over the period of 12 months. It's the same thing with the CRM. When you're constantly touching all of your people over a 12-month period, they're excited about you. And when somebody says in their center of influence, hey, we're thinking about buying or selling, they're actually eager to throw your name in the circle because you showed up. You were there. You were front and center. You were present. I had this mortgage lender one time who was calling me on a regular basis. And I didn't need her. I didn't need her. I didn't need her. And after it was 13, 14 months of her following up, she said, oh, I'm sorry if I'm bugging you. I'm like, you are not bugging me. I just know you're there. The minute we decide to do something, you're there. And you're going to be the first person that I contact because you're front and center. And that's just it, like showing up in your business for your clientele when the majority of agents are not. They're not.
Correct. So we want you to embrace follow up. Some people call it follow through because it means commitment. And we want you to have a great spring. This spring is going to be fantastic. Prepare for it and go after it.
I think that it's a phenomenal time for you to really build your business by being aware as you go into this year. with how you're following through and you're following up and how you're showing up for your clientele and showing up for yourself, showing up for your business. It's really impactful. Thank you so much, Key.
Oh, thank you, Erica.
Always a pleasure.